Get it? What do you got? For sure. Oh yeah. He's done it. There you go. Yeah, Jamari. That's a cracker. Straight across. There's Brenton. Yeah, boys.
Well, how good is the flatty fishing at the moment, particularly on the footpath directly across from Boss Outdoor? G'day folks, it's Ando with this week's fishing report. Well, how good is the flatty fishing going? Adzi and the boys took a tinny out here in the channel, got some beautiful fish. A couple of trevally thrown in with the mix. But hey, Josh and Owen got an absolute horse the other day too. Check out that for a flatty. So good to see heaps of flatties around with the option of a really large specimen. Now, they're a real viable target for the boating angler and the shore-based angler. Right here, out the front of Boss Outdoor, on the footpath. We've been smacking them before work. In fact, Jamari Schultz and Adzi, both throwing some hard bodies and plastics around. Got some beautiful fish the other day. I myself missed out on a flatty the other day, but I ended up with a couple of nice trevally, which, you know, I'm always stoked with the trevor, especially off the flats. Now, this week's weather is going to be pretty ordinary. So if you're going to fish, I'd suggest in the estuary. Now, if you want to get out of the wind, you've only got to cast your eye down here and you can see it's slightly windy, but it's not as bad as out over off the jetty or way up in the top lake. So if you were to get your boat out here on the shallows, anchor it up, maybe from the bow and the stern, so you're sitting nice and parallel with the tide, put some burley in the water. I guarantee you're going to get brim, trevally, mullet, potentially whiting and flathead on this flat all the way through. Now it doesn't just extend to this flat. Across that fish pen, same thing. Way down in the corner in front of all those private jetties down near Spencer Park. It's a red hot spot to anchor the boat, put some burley in and just bait fish. You can throw a plastic while you're waiting. Now it's an option when the weather is ordinary, so keep that one in mind. So if you do want to shore base a few flatties from the footpath here, soft plastics and hard bodies, look, Jamari was using a Camzin zip bait the other day. Really nice lure. They cast well, they swim well, they suspend well, and hey, the flatties love them. And Adzi, well, we all know Adzi loves the Imposter. In fact, we're going to rename the Imposter the Adzi. And he's trying a new colour at the moment and it's working. So, look, it's a real good spot. Like I'm walking along here, the whole flat behind me holds fish. It's just a really good option if you can't get a boat out in the wind. Well, I'm down here on the jetty, just out in front of Boss Outdoor, and you can see the difference in the wind already, which is what I was talking about earlier. The flat behind me is somewhat protected. But hey, this little gangway leading down to the marina jetty is really good. It's great access for the channel, but the flats behind me and over here on this side hold some really good brim. Now, a couple of customers came into the shop, they said, where are we going to fish? We just direct them over here. And they've come up trumps with some really nice fish. Caught some beautiful brim right here. So again, for the shore-based angler, maybe get a bit of pilchard, peeled prawn. I always like to peel my prawns. I think once you take the head off and the shell off and just put that flesh bait on the hook, it's a much better bait. The hookup rate is heaps better than just sticking the whole prawn on the hook. What happens is the fish grab the prawn, the hook will rip through the shell and you just get debaited. Peel your prawns next time you have a crack for some brim, I reckon you'll do better. If you've got a nipper pump, get out on the flats, pump some nippers, bass yabbies, one-arm bandits, whatever you want to call them. They are dynamite bait. Dynamite bait for brim and whiting. This wind is so strong, don't let it deter you because it turns the fish on. The flats are all stirred up, the fish will feel a bit of cover from the wind, they're protected from the overhead predators such as eagles and so on, and they'll be out moving about looking for a feed. So this weekend, don't worry about going out offshore, it's going to be off its head. The beach might be okay, and we'll talk about the beach in a minute, but my tip is get in the estuary and give it a crack. I reckon you're going to get some fish. So let's get on with that beach fishing. Middle Beach, very underrated. If you don't know where it is, Google it up, but it sits between Long Point and Short Point. There's a beautiful car park area, a beautiful set of stairs. It's just a gorgeous beach to go and explore. Like, it's protected from this wind, but on the afternoon and after dark, there's some good fish to be had down there. You can catch fish down there like bream, tailor, sharks, and surprisingly enough, kingfish show up on that beach. Now, a customer came in, he said he caught 5 different species on that beach in one afternoon session, so that's pretty good going. The Gilligan boys, they've been fishing down at Merimbula Main and getting some beautiful whiting. They've also been chancing their hand at catching some squid and getting some nice squid too, so good on you boys. It's always good to see the young fellas getting into the action. So with this ordinary weather, there is one fish you can chase without having to go into the salt water or offshore or off the beach. It's a good old Australian Aussie bass. Now, I mentioned I was going to try and pump some information out of Aaron. I've heard that he's in the shop. Let's go and get him. Right, we've got him. You're going to talk about bass, mate. You're going to tell the folks where to catch a bass, right? We're going to get him.
Rightio, guys. Been conned into doing a bass talk for this week. With these rains we've had, we're probably going to be fishing a bit deeper around timber, rocks, that kind of stuff, using some darker colours, particularly putting stuff like jig spinners on, stirring up those bites in that higher, dirtier water. Chatterbaits, spinnerbaits, they're really going to come into their own in this higher, dirty water. But with this high water, this is the first time they've had a fair bit of water to get upriver this season. So they're going to get up into those upper reaches, into the upper holes, water's going to drop back down. They're going to get stuck up there and they're going to come in onto top water really well. So stuff like your cicadas, probably be going for some TMCOs or some jackals, some walk the dogs, some Lucky Craft Sammies, that kind of stuff. But coming into these autumn months is going to be the best time to chase some big fish in those upper reaches. Big stuff, Berkeley Choppos, Jackal Pompadours, Atomic Slappers. That's going to be the go for getting those big bites. You will travel far, you work hard, but you will get them.
All right, how good was that? Thank you, Aaron. Well, for this week's deal, we're going to give you 10% off Aaron's bass wall, but only if you come in and mention that you watched the fishing report and maybe thank me for pumping Aaron for that information. Well, that's it for this week's fishing report. If there's anything else you need to know about bait, lures, where to find these flatties out on the footpath, or about Aaron's pet bass, come into Boss Outdoor so we can hook you up.